So a friend of mine and I, we were at a restaurant talking about fear. Like as a concept, it eventually evolved into talking about what we were scared of. And we decided to trade fears, I would tell him one fear, he would tell me another, and we go back and forth. So I started off, I'm scared of heights. I hate ladders, being too high, just because there's that threat of falling off. And if you fall off, you could hit a tree stump and die or something. Then my friend goes, he talks about how he's scared of bugs. If it's big enough, I give another one. Car accident, like your body gets mangled or set on fire. I think that's scary enough. My friend pointed out like all my fears were death related. I thought about it and it's like, death is scary as a motherfucker. But he wanted my next fear to be not death related. Okay. Anyways, he was given his next fear, but I wasn't really listening to what he was saying. I saw someone behind him who had a tattoo on their face, and I couldn't make out the shape, so I kept looking at it harder and harder, like I was scrunching up my face more and more, and it must have gotten to the point where I scrunched up my face so much that it looked hateful. Because when the guy made eye contact with me, he immediately got up and started coming up to my friend and I. The fuck you looking at my face for? Then he said this, and I realized what had happened. He goes, why don't you look at your friend instead? Then he went back to his seat and kept eating. Even though he was chewing me out, I couldn't tell what the tattoo looked like. If it was like a moon or a broken plate, I couldn't. Regardless, I didn't look at him again after that. My friend and I actually kind of lost our appetite, so we left. But that encounter made me realize I actually do have a fear that doesn't involve death. I'm gonna be honest. That guy thinks I'm racist. He was black, by the way, so he probably thinks I'm racist. I can't do anything about fixing that. But what happens if something worse occurred? Like 100 people think I'm racist, or 1,000, 1,000,000. That's when it gets scary to me. So my fear, it's not being racist, but having people think I'm racist. That's what's scary to me. Because obviously racism is bad. I think the average person understands that to some degree. But what less people understand is how fucking annoying racism is. By the way, when I say racism, I don't mean people who shave their heads and act like taxi driver. I mean people who don't admit to being racist. Because I think everyone, to some extent, has to have a little, just a little prejudice in them. Here's what I mean. On the surface level, race has a thing called a home field advantage. What that means is, psychologically, playing in a field I am familiar with gives me more confidence than an area I'm not familiar with. In my area, a familiarity is white people. Meaning that if I walk into a bank and I see 4 tellers, one is an old white lady, another is an old Indian lady, another old black lady, old Chinese lady. Out of those 4, I'm going to walk to the old Chinese lady with the broken English. Cause I know I'm not racist if I go to her before I go to the old white lady. I can't be, because my fear of being racist immediately acknowledges the old white lady as a home field advantage. I feel the most comfortable around her. She's got a picture of her cat on the counter. She's got a necklace with a cross. But out of fear, even if I'd be the most comfortable with her, I don't want to be seen as racist. So I go to the old Chinese lady first. Then the next time I go to the bank, I go to the old black lady. And then the third time, then I go to the old white lady. Because I did what I deem to be social justice. Because most racism now doesn't really come from hate anymore. It comes from a place of fear where it's just easier to say I'm perfect all the time. I am colorblind. Everyone is gray. If I had to backtrack and talk about where the fear of being racist came from, I don't have a year, but there was a time when America finally realized racism is actually bad. But we still haven't fixed it. So because of where we are racially in America, white people talking about race never ends well. Because we want to talk about these issues. We really do. We actually want to. But we don't want to admit to being racist first. But we will try our hardest to talk about race, make everybody uncomfortable or angry or confused in the process. Okay, here's the issue. We're self-loathing when we talk about race. Like I said, we don't admit to being racist, but we try to feel guilty about it. Whenever we talk about race, it's always made to be about how we hate America. But when I say America, I mean ourselves. Because that's what we do. White people just guilt trip and go, Gosh, I can't believe I'm not like a black person. I couldn't even imagine what it's like being a black person. Oh, they go through so much more than me. I feel so bad. I wish racism would end. Truth is, we can't empathize with race issues. So because of that, we try to blame each other until it's narrowed down to a scapegoat that we can all just point at and go, there they are. That's racism. Get 'em. Let's be honest. You've been in America long enough. We had our chance at a scapegoat. But it doesn't work out. We don't have a Hitler of racism. And we fucking tried too, but we missed our chance. So now we gotta figure out a new solution to stop having this fear of being racist. Okay, I'm gonna make my own attempt at not fixing racism, but being able to use racism in a constructive manner where all the race groups work in harmony, alright? Here's how it starts. We take the Senate and we kick everybody out and then re-elect new senators so that each state has a white senator and a black senator. The rules are, you have to vote for your race. White people can't vote for black people, vice versa. But it's mostly for white people so they can't start feeling like a white savior last second. Then, the House is where all the other races go, alright? So now, the Senate is 50-50. The House votes on stuff still. They do their job normally, just without white or black people. Here's the catch. What the Senate does now is that when they receive a bill, they get 2 separate copies of the bill, and the white senators and the black senators make their own changes to the bill. After both races make their changes to a bill, then the president, who's some guy from India, he's not even from this country, he decides on which bill is better. And that's how laws should be made from now on. Like I said, this won't cure racism, but it channels our racism into something more productive. So we go from having a fear of being racist to making our racism into a competition. Not a war, not a race war, but a race competition. There's no longer that pressure of not wanting to be seen as racist because you're literally being put into a team based on your skin color. So, I think that would work better than what we're doing now. I don't know, man. I just didn't think of asking what that guy's tattoo was.
Brown food, brown drink.